You are listening to the Pleasant Spirit Podcast with your host, licensed massage therapist, Kyle Pleasant. Here, we will be discussing topics on health and wellness, as well as self-improvement, and his experiences as a legally blind massage therapist. And now, here's your host, Kyle.
Hello again, and welcome to the Pleasant Spirit Podcast. I'm your host, licensed massage therapist, Kyle Pleasant. So, this time last year, I ended up writing a book called Fostering Energy that you can get there on Amazon. But it reminded me today, I guess I was getting up this morning, it kind of reminded me today of the section that I wrote about forgiveness. And one of the main quotes that I put there in the book was something from that I saw on an Oprah show a long time ago. And as it regards to forgiveness, she said something about usually she'll have like a guest on there that had some kind of childhood trauma or, a family member they didn't get along with or something in that regard. It was mostly focused on like an abuse type situation. But she had said that when it comes to forgiveness, it is about not saying that whatever happened to you was okay, because it's not okay to be abused or to be talked down to or, harmed in some physical or mental way. It's not okay. You're not saying that it's okay. But what you are saying is that you're letting go of the idea of something being different in that situation. So you're just letting go of that particular situation, that expectation of that situation being differently. Because we all deserve to have peace in our lives. We all deserve respect and compassion. And, what we're seeing on the world stage today is that, in a lot of situations, in one area, our humanity is breaking down with fighting and war. But in another situation, like I said in my last podcast, in another situation, we're seeing humanity's best as well. And that situations in the world are making way for humanity to exert itself in quite a polaristic situation. We got one situation happening, one bad situation happening in one place, but one good situation happening in another place. And so we're seeing humanity at its best and its worst right now. But it made me think, from the perspective of when it comes to forgiveness, is that I've always kind of thought, I didn't have much unforgiveness in my own heart, because there's nobody that has done me wrong in the past that I have held a grudge to. But when I brought in that definition of forgiveness, when it comes to that Oprah quote, it's like letting go of the situation could be different. It expands something because now you start to thinking, instead of, being upset with somebody that has caused you harm, like some kind of abuse or childhood trauma or somebody cutting you in traffic or something like that. It is about not having my expectations met. And that can mean, if I order something at a restaurant and they send me something I didn't order, well, that is an expectation that was not met. Or if I'm waiting for a train and the train is late or doesn't come at all, then there's an expectation that wasn't met. And so then I start to think about that. If we're using the definition of an expectation that's not met in regards to unforgiveness, then I have to make space to allow for the letting go of that expectation not being met, and therefore forgiving the train being late, or forgiving the restaurant for not bringing me the right order. And so that it really expands, things on a daily basis, that you expect a chore to be done, or you expect your kids to, speak nicely to you, or you expect your train to come on time, or you expect, there's a lot of things that we expect, in our life. And when those expectations aren't met, then we get irritated. And irritation or aggravation is an emotion. And when that happens, then we acknowledge that emotion. We say, thank you for letting me know that I'm out of alignment. Those emotions are help bringing us in and out of alignment, letting us know that we are moving towards peace or away from peace. And once we get to that place where we know that we're irritated and that we know that our expectation is not met, then that's where forgiveness comes in. Because what happens is when we have unforgiveness in our lives, whether it is a past trauma, or, a fight with a family member, or somebody cutting you off in line, or the train being late, or any of those kinds of expectations, unmet expectations, we're holding in our heart and our mind the energy of that irritation and that expectation not being met. And when we hold it in our hearts and we focus on it and we dwell on it and we hold that grudge, then we contaminate our energy and prevent it from allowing a blessing to come in. So, it's something to think about whenever we're irritated. Say, thank you for that irritation. And be, show gratitude towards that expectation not being met. That, hey, thank you for showing me that there might be something in this that there's a lesson that might need to be learned, or something is being demonstrated over and over again that I need to, bring attention to. And you thank that, and you're grateful for that experience. You may not like the train being late, or you may not like, getting the food you didn't order, or, or any other expectation. You might not like it, but it is a demonstration that something isn't out of alignment, whether it's with, the people around you, or the energy that you're holding in, or the ideas that you're, maybe the expectations are not reasonable, or that expectation needs to be modified in some way. So we acknowledge that emotion, but then we let it go, and we make a choice to forgive that expectation not being met. And when we do that, we allow for something greater to come in, or at least making way for acknowledgement of something that needs to change and bring us back to alignment. So with that, I hope that there's something in there that inspired somebody. And if you like this podcast, be sure that you like and subscribe and share it with other people. And if you have any comments or questions or suggestions, or you just want to be featured on an episode, to talk about even a particular subject that's close to your heart, be sure to reach out to me at podcast@pleasantspirit.com. And with that, be well and have a pleasant day.
Thank you for listening to the Pleasant Spirit Podcast. We hope you found today's show informative. Please take a moment to write a review. And if you want to reach out or have show ideas, you can email at podcast@pleasantspirit.com. You can also visit his website at pleasantspirit.com. If you are in the Portland, Oregon area, you can schedule a massage or one of his coaching services at pleasanttouchmassage.com. See you next time, and always be well.